Hello. Today we're going to see an interesting system design problem. Design a smart infinite scroll home feed. It's a very common question, and if you actually look in YouTube, you will actually find like tons of videos. But after watching a few, I either find them a bit old, that is like not current for the current competitive stage, or they don't go deep enough. Today we are going to go deep, and also I'm going to teach you how to answer this question so you showcase not just your system intelligence but also your product sense to the interviewer. So this question can be can be added to like any system, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Pinterest. There are a lot of places, including even LinkedIn. So we are just gonna see one solution that can be extended to apply to any modern social networking platform. All right, let's get started. Okay, as for requirements, things are pretty clear. So we will just like go and we'll start things. Okay, so first one, as clearly mentioned, we're gonna build an infinite scroll home feed page. Okay, that's good. It also mentions the word smart, and we can kind of translate it to some simple pieces like relevant and personalized. There's gonna be more to it. We'll get into that later. Okay, so it's pretty straightforward. So there is no more nuance to it. Of course, you can just assume that people can follow people. If it's a website like LinkedIn, you can follow group. If it's like Pinterest, you can follow boards. That's totally fine. You can mention that. So you can just like say users can follow people, groups, boards, whatever. That's fine. And when it comes to non-functional requirements, here we just have to like talk about like not too many things. Latency, we'll say we'll always target something around 200 milliseconds. That's P95. And we'll see how we can achieve that. And the next piece that you can talk about is the scale. It could be something like, for example, for Pinterest, they might say like, okay, we have 1 billion pins. If it's Instagram, it could be like a 5 billion images and videos, and same thing with TikTok. So we can just say pins or videos, and say 250 million active users. The numbers can vary, but that's pretty much there. And we always ensure high availability. Okay, and the availability obviously is like gonna be more important than consistency. And when we say consistency, here we just say that it's okay if a post doesn't appear in someone's timeline, say for a couple minutes, and that's totally okay. So that's what we clearly mean. Okay, so that's pretty much it. We will directly jump into the design. You don't have to talk too much about entities here. You can say, okay, there's going to be user, there's going to be post, um, and there's going to be board. That's totally fine. You don't have to go super deep into it. If you want, you can mention it like user, pin, post, whatever you want to say, but it's really not that important here. Okay. And the next one, when it comes to API design, there is only one API here. So that's again the interesting piece. So all you will have to say is like get feed. That's it. And yes, you can add a cursor. That's there, and you can also add like a page size, but that is the only thing. You want to probably mention that, okay, you will cover cursor later time, but for now we'll just like say There is only one API, get feed and cursor, and you can also pass in the page size later on. All right, now we get into the core of the problem. Okay, we'll just like, so we are gonna go this route. So we will design a high level system, and then once that's done, we will go deeper into pieces and then we'll add things. Like I said, when this question is asked, especially in the current days, they just don't want you to, like, explain how the systems work, but also they want to see how you think in terms of product. Because the system, if you just draw it high level, it might look very simple, but as you start adding more product dimensions, this is a very complex product. So we'll see. Okay, I am going to add a client. Basic first step. This client is like either web or it's app, or it's even an API for now. And I'll have a gateway. So my client, when it will first talk to the gateway, and my gateway will have everything here. So my gateway will cover authentication, load balancing, routing, logging, anything else, experimentation layer, everything will be covered by my gateway. And my gateway, so whenever it sees this particular API, it will route the user to a service. Let's define the service called feed service. All right, so this feed service is what we are going to be owning today. So imagine, like, if it's a company, then the expectation today is that you would be owning the feed service, and you are going to talk about what your team will own and who you will coordinate with. So that's how the interview is going to be. Okay, so you have a feed service, and the naive solution, you don't have to cover this, but the naive solution would be, say, for example, in a world like, Facebook, you follow some people. So the naive solution would be like, my feed service would just like look up all of the people I follow, and then it would look up at the people who I follow, how many posted, and it would get the post, and it would just like give me some post. But that's really not going to work, so you don't even have to really explain much. So here we will directly, save time, and we will just say that, okay, my feed service will read from a pre-computed set of feeds, right? So it will read from pre-computed set of feeds, and it will give me the response for the feed. That is good. So now you can go from here. Okay, so I have pre-computed set of feeds, and this is kind of like, you can think of it like an inbox for the user. So right, so let's take so this is just feeds, or if it's a like pins from the users I follow. So what happens here is, whenever a user adds a feed, adds a post, there will be a worker. So you can actually write that. So we'll have like a separate service here. So this is, let's call it like the post or pin service, really doesn't matter. So when the post service gets a request, it would actually emit an event to a queue here. So it could be Kafka or something, and you will have bunch of fan out workers here. So many fan out workers will be here, and these fan out workers will consume from Kafka, and it will write these posts to the inbox of the people who follow the user who is writing. That's good. But again, as we all know, this cannot scale, because there could be some celebrities who are being followed by hundreds of thousands of people, even million people. So this is not gonna work, but this will work for people who don't have many followers. That's fine. So this is the fan out solution. Fan out on right. Okay, so now, so this my pre-computed feeds will be like, filled with like the people I follow who are not celebrities. And then we will have a separate bucket. Let's call it, we can simply, so for now, I'm just gonna call it like, it can be like a celebrity bucket. Okay, so a celebrity bucket is what people will have, so people who are celebrities, that's what, their feeds will be here. So what I'm gonna call it, like, you can call it like a celebrity bucket, or in a world of Instagram. So we let's for now, let's create this one, celebrity bucket, celebrity feeds. Okay, so this feed service will pull information from the celebrity feed, and at runtime it would merge things, it would rank them. So we'll add a ranker here, so we don't have to go deeper into ranker. So we can just like, we use this particular thing, let's call it like a ranker. We don't want to really go super deep into it, so we'll just say, okay, my feed service will pull some feeds, say 50 or 100. It will rank them, and then it will start serving the client those feeds. This is good, but so far this is what every system design will cover. But here's the problem, right? The keyword is smart, and I'm not just adding this for sake of this video. This is the trend here. If you at an interview right now in the market, and if you just like give like say 10 interviews to the top 25 companies in Silicon Valley, you would at least come across this question like 2 to 3 times. I'm actually like, underselling it. You would probably get it like more times. The point that I'm trying to make is, you will hear the word smart. People are looking for smart feed generation. So what is exactly the problem with this? This actually works, right? So this is fine, because here it serves the feeds from the people that I follow that are both celebrities and non-celebrities. But this actually doesn't help the company grow. I'm just like following just regular people, right? And these are pre-computed feeds. So here's what you should start like adding, because this is what every company does today. Like, take any company, take Instagram, take Twitter, take Pinterest, take LinkedIn. They just don't want you to see who you follow. They want you to expand the network, right? So that's what now we are going to add. So I am going to add another service. So these are pre-computed feeds. So my next service is what I'm gonna call as a real-time candidate service. All right. So my real-time candidate service would actually do a few things for me. So first one, it would give me whatever that's trending at that particular moment. And trending things and viral things, they keep on changing, for every few hours. Sometimes it might stay for a day or so. So my real-time candidate service will have this thing called trending bucket. So let's add this bucket called trending bucket. Okay. So it will have any viral videos or viral pins, viral pictures. So anything that's trending. This will be populated by another service that we can call it like a black box at this point. So we can call it like a trending service. This will figure it out. We don't have to go into this one. The idea here is the interviewers want to see if you can actually spot partners and how things are going to operate. So we'll just like say the trending service will take care of like filling this trending bucket. Now, right. So the celebrity feeds is fine, but in a place like, so imagine, right? So you are in, you are using a news app like Flipboard or Google News or Pinterest. You just don't follow people, you follow topics, right? You will have tons of interest. So how do these items get added to your feeds? So you cannot go through the pre-computed feeds route, because like there could be million followers again for every single topics. So this is what we call the topic buckets. So we can call them interest buckets. So this could be like a lot of interest, like anything, like if you're talking news, then we can say sports, politics, commerce. If you are following some topics in some websites, you can follow things like spirituality, interior decoration, travel, whatever it is. So these buckets will be again like pre-filled by, we can call them again like trending service. We can call like a topic service. Its job is to analyze all the feeds, all the posts that are coming in, and then split them and then put those in like various buckets. So that's how we will like call it. Okay, right, good. We have trending pieces, we have interest buckets, and now imagine your own feed, right? Yes, you will see feeds from people who you follow, that's good. You will see like both celebrities and non-celebrities, and you will see again interest from your trending pieces. So trending is not exactly people you follow. So trending is like how these websites kind of expand your own bubble, your own circle, right? They want you to have more exposure to the things that you are actually like not actually following. They want to do that. So that's trending, by showing the videos. And then this is what the second strategy to expand your circle. So we call it expanding your social circle, kind of, right? So these are real-time candidate surveys, but these are very generic, not personalized, right? So I mean, kind of generic, not pure generic, because again interest buckets are part personalized, but they are like not personalized for you. But let's add another service here, and let's call this service real-time personalized candidate generators. So what does this do? So this is the interesting piece, because it uses this thing called graph. You definitely have heard of it. Like graph is like how the social networking websites persist the relationships, right? So what it does is, so we'll call this one your graph DB. Okay, so it goes to your graph and it does this thing called random walk. So it takes 2 or 3 people, usually like prioritized, ranked based on your interaction with those people, or the people who are very active. So it picks a few people and it does a random walk. When I say random walk, what it does is it takes those people and it goes into their engagements, people they have, posts they have liked, posts they have interacted with, and it shows those items into your feeds. And it does it so you can actually see who your friends and you people you follow are interacting with, and you can expand the circle. That's the idea here. So it does that. And yeah, so this one is like usually done like real time. It can be pre-computed, but we try our best to like mostly real time, and it's expensive. So what it does is it just like picks some random nodes, and then it just like hops like random walks of like one or two hops again. Okay, so now we have all of these, and one thing that you cannot forget is what we call, whenever you open any company social networking, your favorite social networking, you will see bunch of ad campaigns. So we can add that. So let's see. So your feed service will talk to a lot of these buckets, and most of these can be like their own separate services. Okay, good. So you talk to all of these, and everywhere. So for example, you just like say you want to like serve 100 feeds, right? So you take 20 feeds or 30 feeds, like not equally weighted, but you just like take some random number, not pure random, but like say you take 30 feeds from pre-computed feeds, and 20 from real-time candidates service, 20 from here, and 20 from ad campaigns. We see a lot of ads these days. So you take all of these items and you put them through ranker, and then you start serving these items to the client. So and you pass in a cursor. And so how do we talk? So the cursor usually looks like this, right? So you pass in a cursor, and so your cursor, we cannot usually like, we usually in a regular place you will see like this: cursor equals some id, so post id. So it can something like say post 453. So that means is like you will check the post that are after this, and then you will serve them. It works usually if the posts are ordered, like in some companies, like when you design a knife system, you will have like this post 123, post 234, things like that. So when I add a cursor here, it's much easier to go and then just like give me like the next 20. But here the items are like not ordered, there is no global ordering. So this is all like super personalized and randomized, so your cursor will be a bit more complicated. So this is how the modern systems do. So the cursor is like actually a compound bookmark. So what it does is it actually will have like a very compound bookmark, something like this. You will get a cursor string, but internally it would actually like the feed service would is the one that manages the cursor. It does something like this: from follow I collected 20, and from celebrity, from graph, or from real time personalized, I collected 25, something like that. So it just like adds, it keeps a track of how many items it picked up, and then it collects the next few items, and also it adds a snapshot of every single piece. So snapshot id equals 234. So the next time if it goes there and wants to collect the next 20 items, but the snapshot id has changed, it would actually kind of like drop it, or it would just like take some other measurements against it. So it's not gonna be like super particular about this cursor. So here it uses cursor as kind of like a bookmark. Okay. All right, so we have covered pretty much everything. And yeah, obviously we will say that if sometimes this is usually pretty fast, and it's good, but if you open things like Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest, sometimes the trending buckets and interest buckets are already cached regionally in the CDN. You can mention that. So it would just like pass in IDs. These videos are like already cached in the CDNs for quicker things. These are like, I mean, CDNs usually do not have personalized items that will be happening in your system, but CDNs usually can have the trending and viral pieces. So you can definitely add like a CDN. And another thing you can mention here is the feed service. Say for the first time you load, and the feed service would actually send a feed, and for some reason you go up or you just like reload the page in the within the next 30 seconds, it doesn't actually send this it send the request back to the feed service. For up to like 30 to 60 seconds, CDN can also cache some of the basic feeds, so that it can do. Yeah, I think pretty much we covered everything. Let me think for a second. Yeah, so if you go with this, yes, one other thing that people can ask you. So imagine you are watching your Instagram feed and you see a video. When you click on that video on that particular second, after clicking on that video and going to the next one, you will see a similar video, similar kind of like connected video. So what it does is so that is a different kind of like infinite scroll. You don't have to build a service for this, but if somebody asks you in that question, then you can like mention this particular term called vector. So for every video we'll have like a vector, and so the vectors usually like we have complex vector up to 128 dimensions. You don't have to like know too much about this, but this is how it looks. Every vector is like a number from -1 to 1, so it can have something like this: 0.3, 0.24, 0.7. So every video will have something like this, and so we'll have up to like 128 dimensions these days. So if you have a similar video, say for example you first like watch a video from a particular person, and a similar concept video is like made, or a similar subject video is made somewhere else, the videos vectors will be pretty common, pretty close to each other. First example, if you see a photo where you are seeing someone traveling to Italy, that video, that image will have a vector. And you see another image where someone is like traveling to France, it might, these two images might have pretty closer vectors. So that way when you look at that image, it searches quickly, see whose other images are, which other images are like there nearby, and it will pick something. On the other hand, if you see a cooking video or cooking image, it has a completely different vector, so it will be technically different. So you can imagine like it's a community where similar characteristic images are pretty close to each other. So if somebody asks, you can mention that. And yeah, I think other than that, this should put you at the top 1% of the interview experience. Okay, all right, thank you so much.